Hi everyone, Diana Rankin here. I'm in my moving office. I'm out of town, so I thought I would just find a quiet place to sit and speak with you for a few moments for our psychic soul messages this week and the predictions. This is for the week of October 30th to November the 4th. That's an exciting month for me, November, because my birthday's coming up on the 11th. So this is October 30th to November 4th. Next week I get to celebrate my birthday, won't I? Oh my. You know, I really wish I could tell you how wonderful the world is every time I start making one of these videos. I would love to, believe me. And I do believe the world is beautiful. I believe the world is a beautiful place. I'm sitting in a lovely park here. It's quiet. And, you know, when I look at nature, when I look at the goodness of people, that's what tells me the world is okay. There's a lot. I hear ducks. I hear them quacking. You may hear them quacking, except I have the windows rolled up because it's a little chilly today. So you may not get to hear the ducks. I can hear the ducks, and they're telling me, yeah, the world's okay. That said, I want to tell you that I don't want to negate. I do want to recognize that we're in a tough time right now. What's going on in the U.S. is we have to face our shadow. And we're being forced to face our shadow. We're being forced to look at our shadow. And as we look at the shadow, we then get to create the new world, the new U.S., which is going to be kinder, and it's going to be more cognizant of what all people need, not only in the U.S., but in the world. In order to do that, you've heard me say it before, chaos precedes creation. You know, when our current president came into power, I said to one of my very dearest friends, I said, I keep seeing generals around him, and I don't know what that means. Well, it's a little clearer now that there are generals in the White House, and that normally is a separate thing except for the Defense Department or Department of Defense. So we have generals around the president, and some say that is keeping the chaos down. Others say that will lead us to war. I don't think it matters if there are generals there or not. We are headed for war. That hurts my heart. And I want to tell you, it's not going to happen, but I can't. I think all the signs are there. I think they've been there. If we look at history, whenever there's a really unpopular president in office, we end up in some kind of war or national crisis. The escalation between the U.S. and North Korea, and a couple of bullies going back and forth, a couple of wounded children in adults' bodies playing like this is a game. The war may start in Africa, however, and I don't know why. I don't know what is so important, but I get it's between the U.S. and North Korea, but it's in Africa. So I can't make a lot of sense of that. And I do also want to tell you how we're all going to handle this, because I don't want to be doomsday. I really don't. That's not who I am. But I do want to say also, I don't think our president, and I think you've heard me say this before, the current president will not serve out his 4 years. That's just not going to happen. I've given him 18 to 22 months. Now, I also want to say the current vice president is probably not the person we want as president either. And so there is a possibility that he will be in there, but it will be short-lived. I want to also say our current president will, I don't know that he'll be impeached, but too many in his own party will stand by him, which will eventually be their downfall, but not immediately. However, I do want to say that he will not go to prison. He will be leaving the office because probably money laundering, or it's something to do with economics, with money. But he will leave office. He will be pushed out. He will be asked to leave, and he'll leave because he'll stay out of prison. He'll keep his blood family out of prison. However, the son-in-law Jared will probably go to prison, following in his father's footsteps. So this is all going to blow up in probably right after the first of the year. Maybe in this winter. I think it'll all start blowing up. So that said, that's going to really throw the U.S. into chaos. And as we throw the U.S. into chaos, the world is going to feel it. But another world leader will step up, and the U.S. is losing that position, that world leadership position. I think eventually we're going to get to a kinder world, but I think it's going to take a few years. So what can we do to take care of ourselves in the meantime? Because there are things we must do. Number one, we have to stay positive. And I don't mean a false positive. I don't mean the, yay, it's all great. It's not. So I don't mean a false positive, but I mean that deep inner joy that comes from knowing the bigger picture is unfolding. We must look at our own shadows and heal our own issues in order that we are not the wounded children creating the world, but that we are the healthy adults, that we are being kinder to each other, that we are performing those acts of love, that oh my gosh, that we're creating a world of kindness, compassion, love, acceptance, understanding. That's the kind of world we want to create. That's the kind of world I want all of us to have. And we do that one deed, one step at a time. And I want you to know that when we do that, our own worlds do change. Our own worlds do, yay, yes, they come together for us. In your own life, when you go out into the world and you're being grumpy, the world reacts that way. But when you're being loving and excited about life, the world reacts to you in that way. And so that's what I'm challenging you with this week. This week, add extra smiles. This week, not a false happiness, but really dig to find that joy that's within you. Dig to find that place within you where you can go, I love this world, I love this world, and mean it. So I'm challenging you to find that this week, and you can. And that's how we're going to get through it. And that's how we're going to create our new world, one human being at a time. The weather that we're seeing, all that's going on is because the shadow is coming up. And that's why we have children in leadership roles. Not every leader, not every president or every leader of a country is acting out of a childish wound. Too many are, though, unfortunately, and the big one. Here, where I live. But I want all my friends internationally to know this man was elected by the Electoral College. It looks like there was Russian influence. His opponent, Hillary Clinton, won 3 million more popular votes. However, he's in office. And he's in office for a reason, because the U.S. had a lot of shadow that we weren't looking at, that we were hiding behind, that we were ignoring. Because we wanted to, because it was easy to ignore. for many of us, not for everyone. And now it's in our face, and everyone has to look at it. And the world has to look at it. So my friends, let's look at our own shadow before we're ousted from our own lives. Let's see what Philip has to say. This is Philip, my spirit guide, and this is an oracle book. Every page has a different wisdom on it. And so we just flip through to find our wisdom. And by the way, for those of you who are, the geese over there are catching, they're Canadian geese and they're in flight and they're catching my attention here. For those of you who come every week, thank you so much. And thank you for your loving comments. I'm so appreciative of them. They keep me going. And for those of you who are new, thank you for coming. I so appreciate your giving me a try. So, what are we thinking? Left or right? Let's take a look and see what Philip has to say for us. And we're just going to let the thumb stop or the finger stop wherever Philip says, or wherever you're telling me, okay, what's our message? There we go. Okay, I'm hearing right, but we might look at left too. But here's what right says. Okay, this is right on what we've been talking about. Imagine that. Others interact with you from the level in which they express life. If you live on a different level, will you not then interact from a different perspective? Let me read that again. Others interact with you from the level in which they express life. If you live on a different level, will you not then interact from a different perspective? One more time. Others interact with you from the level in which they express life. If you live on a different level, will you not then interact from a different perspective? That, my friend, is our challenge this week. We need to raise our own vibration. We need to have a consciousness of love, a consciousness of helping each other, a consciousness of that which we need exist. And with that consciousness, we raise ourselves to a new level. And as we raise ourselves to a new level, we help to raise the world to a new level. Let's continue to raise our consciousness to a greater level of love, a greater level of humanity for all people around the world. And someday, I promise you, not necessarily in my lifetime, but someday, the world will know peace in your lifetime, in our children's lifetime. The world will know peace, and there will be no more war. I do believe that. I believe that with all that I am. I promise to take a look at the left side. And without a receiver, there is no giver. Without a receiver, there is no giver. So, my friends, I'd like you to receive this message from me. I love you. I love you. I love speaking with you. I love visiting with you. I love your heart. I love who you are. Pass that along. Thank you. Until next week.